I want to ask Brandon. It was I looked at it as a very good game. I didn't even realize until I just looked at the stats while everyone was talking. Sevilla didn't even have their first shot on target until the 95th minute. I said in my monologue earlier that I felt that Saka and I thought Martinelli looked back to their brilliant best tonight, beating people, cutting in, being dangerous. It feels like they've been like that in a lot of the home, especially the home Champions League games this year. There seems to be more cutting edge. There seems to be more directness. I like the Trossard, Saka, Martinelli combination. I think that seems to work. Without Gabriel Jesus, seems to be the best mix because they're all technically gifted. They can all dribble. They've all got a goal in them. They seem to get on quite well. I thought the only hindrance was still probably what's his name? Kai Havertz. I still think he kind of slows down the play and doesn't quite fit into what Arsenal are trying to sort of do. I thought overall tonight, especially after 2 defeats on the bounce, was a very good victory, but a marked improvement for Arsenal, performance-wise.
1,000,000% tell. That was tonight was complete domination. The scoreline will probably not say that because we only won 2-0, but we could have had 4, 5, or 6. As you know, you just pointed out, Sevilla had their first shot on goal, their first shot on target in the 97th minute. We completely dominated them tonight in every aspect of the game. And this is why I say we can win this competition, Tel, because when you look at it in the Champions League, teams open up against us, and that's what we crave for. We crave for that space. Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, them type of players need space to operate in. We don't tend to get that very much in the Premier League so far this season, obviously because teams, throw 2 banks of 4 behind to try and stifle us. And it works when you're playing with a midfield 3 of Jorginho, Rice, Havertz. There's not much creativity in there. But when you're coming up against a team that is willing to open up, that's why I say we can win this competition, because they're going to be teams in this competition that are going to open up against us. And when they do that, that's when you see the best of Arsenal. Like you said earlier, Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli looked like the Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka of last season. They were excellent tonight, especially Martinelli in that first half. He was on absolute fire. That fullback, I don't even know the guy's name, but he couldn't get near him. And Trossard, who knew, Tel? We've been looking for a solution. We've been questioning why isn't it fluid in the midfield? Why isn't it fluid in attack? Why is it that our attacking players just cannot seem to get into games right now? And I think you got your answer tonight. Without Gabriel Jesus, the best player to play in that false 9 position is Trossard, purely and simply because of his technical ability, his ability to link up play, his ability to bring other players into the game and make them perform better. Eddie Nketiah just simply doesn't do that. And that's not, Eddie Nketiah, he scored his hat-trick against Sheffield United. He scored some big goals last season in moments when we needed him. But he's just not that type of striker. And unfortunately, in this Arteta system, you need somebody who can do that role and play that role to an absolute T that Jesus does for us. And Trossard can do that. And he proved that tonight. It was so much more fluid, like I say. Defensively, very, very sound again. I think there was only one moment where it looked like Sevilla was going to maybe get in behind, and William Saliba was doing William Saliba things like he does now. We just come to expect that of him.
Yeah.
And you have to say the manager got it right. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and say that's it now. We found the solution and all that, because I still don't believe that midfield is going to be good enough in Premier League, especially.
Yeah, I get you on that, and I think that I think the one player I already mentioned, Kai Havertz, still just doesn't look to be. You look at Declan Rice; he's come in and looks an Arsenal player. He's dynamic, he's strong, he's quick. As an example, Jorginho's never been dynamic and strong and quick, but he has an excellent passing range to kind of compensate for that. I'm still looking at Kai Havertz, and I can't quite work out. I mean, and he's passed tonight, by the way, for the opening goal to break the lines. That's what he's great at. And if there's a little bit of space for him, he's brilliant. But Kai Havertz, he doesn't have the speed, the power, the height. Well, he has a height, but doesn't use it. doesn't have the touch, the dribbling. I'm still yet to find, what it is that he does. He doesn't even have that kind of Fellaini-esque presence in the air to knock the sort of ball down. Sard, big claim there from Brandon. Sorry, Brandon. Sard, a big claim there from Brandon that he thinks you can win this competition. Do performances like tonight give you confidence that Arsenal can win their first Champions League this season?
I see performances like this, and yeah, it's great. But I've always been on the understanding that you can't just come into the Champions League and win it. You can't just, with players that haven't got experience playing in the Champions League. Yes, we have some that have played in the Champions League previously, but you can't just come in and win the Champions League. It's not that easy. Otherwise, you'd see other teams do it. You saw how Man City struggled year after year after year after year, and their teams were even better than ours. And they still struggled. They still made it to semi-finals, and they still made it to quarterfinals, and then got traipsed out of there. So I'm not going to say that we can win it, but all I will say is the final was at Wembley. So listen, if I get to the final, my record at Wembley is quite good. But yeah, listen, for me, it was a great game. It's great to see Saka, great to see Martinelli back. And I say this now, this is what happens when you put somebody in the middle that can actually move the ball around and bring players into the game. Trossard and Martinelli were on fire today. The passes between them two, it looked like they played last season, all season together. It literally, the reason why people were so cautious about bringing Trossard back into the middle was because of that Fulham game. But people are not realizing that in that Fulham game, Jesus was playing on that left side. It was not Martinelli. With Martinelli and Trossard, they have very good chemistry between them. And even with him and Saka, very good chemistry. I think for me, I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the way Jorginho was playing. He actually had a very good game today. He was actually passing the ball forward. A lot of times he passes sideways and backwards. That's the main problem I had with Jorginho. Sideways and backwards every time. This time he was actually passing the ball forward, progressing the ball. That's all I ask. All I ask. Keep it the same as how Thomas Partey does it. He gets the ball, straight away he looks up, someone's there to collect the ball, he pushes it forward, progresses the ball forward. I think the only critique or I have two things to critique. The not taking the chances. This is, I say this every single match reaction that I've done on here. I've literally mentioned it every single time I've come in. We don't finish our chances every time. And the second thing I want to critique, Ben White. So many times he could have done the overlap. I don't think he understands how helpful that overlap is, because when Saka is getting double teamed by players, he needs an option. That overlapping run provides him with an option to pass and possibly get the ball crossed in. He needs to be making those overlapping runs more and more in the game. I understand that I think they were doing a game plan where it went to a back three and he stayed back, but that overlapping run is way too valuable to be not doing it. But yeah, I'm happy with the win.
I bet you guys are. You're pretty much through now. A few super chats here on Arsenal. It says, I'm convinced Kai is a DM like Busquets, lanky, weak, and does a few cyber. Did you just call Busquets weak?
That's crazy.
Brother, like that's like an insult. That see how many insults there were in there to Busquets, one of the greatest DMs in the history of football. Sevilla's right back will be having nightmares about Martinelli in his past and future lives. Saka and Trossard were excellent tonight, pure dominance. And look, I think Arsenal fans, especially that have been watching the Terrace and tuning into our shows, have been waiting for a performance like that all year. Kai was literally a way for Arsenal to funnel money to Chelsea. City and Man United did the same. I thought that was fairly obvious. The clubs have a
synergistic, I think.
Synergistic. I've heard the word, okay, synergistic relationship. Can you imagine? Yeah, just a money-making scheme. That's why they did it. Can you imagine? Arsenal can win what? I almost crashed, Brandon. Please don't kill me over laughter. But I kind of agree. I know that we always talk about like, oh, Arsenal have never won it, and in the past, Wenger's team struggled. But this is not Wenger's Arsenal. It's a different Arsenal. When teams open up against them,